Tarachi Gold is very much a Mexico-focused and gold-focused company. I'm going to be touching today a little bit on our exploration that we've been going on there for the last couple of months, as well as this exciting new project, which we call the Magistral project. So just our usual disclaimer here. So we'll be making some forward-looking statements. If you haven't read this before, please, you can find an extended version of our presentation at tarachigold.com with this in there. Just to give people a bit more of an overview of Tarachi Gold, since we are a new company and a lot of people might not be familiar with the name. Tarachi Gold came together sort of in the spring of last year with a name change and with the signing of a pair of option agreements, giving us access to over 3,700 hectares of highly prospective gold land in the Sonora state of Mexico. Our properties are located in the Sierra Madre Gold Belt. It's a very famous gold belt that's hosted tens of millions of ounces of gold and hundreds of millions of ounces of silver. So we're very excited to be exploring there. We've got a lot of major mines nearby, including Alamos Gold's Mulatos mine, which is only about 6 kilometers from our southern block of claims, as well as Agnico Eagle's La India mine, which is sort of halfway between our southern block and our northern block. Company's pretty well financed. We raised about $11 million last year. Of that, I think we have just under $8 million left in the bank today. We've also put together what we think is a great management team. We've got a new chairman, Michael Connert, who is also president and CEO of Vizsla Resources, which is another Mexico-focused company. They've had a lot of success, particularly in the past year, looking for silver in Mexico. So we're certainly benefiting from Mike's experiences down in Mexico, as well as our VP Exploration, Lauren Warner. Lauren's got over like 3 decades of international exploration experience and a number of interesting discoveries under his belt there. So we've got a great team in place. We're well financed to continue exploring on our Tarachi claims. And then also, as Eric mentioned, we're sort of on the 1 yard line in terms of closing on a new acquisition. That is for the Magistral mill and tailings facility. This is a fully permitted 1,000 ton per day plant. It's pretty close to a turnkey sort of system, as well as access to an estimated 1.3 million tons of high-grade gold tailings that are adjacent to the plant. And our intention is to use the plant to reprocess those tailings and become a sort of a near-term producer of gold, potentially even within the next 12 months. So very exciting time for us. 2020 was very much sort of a foundation building year for the company, getting a team in place, getting a portfolio of great assets in place, and getting well financed as well. So 2021 is lining up to be pretty exciting. We've got a market cap of about $20 million or just under $20 million today, with about 61 million shares outstanding. And again, with just under $8 million in cash in the bank. So I'd like to take a closer look at the Magistral acquisition that we're working on right now. As I said, this is a fully permitted 1,000 ton per day mill facility, as well as a high-grade tailings resource of just over 2 grams per ton, which for those of you not familiar with these sort of tailings reprocessing stories, this is really high grade. Most tailings plants are looking at grades of maybe 1 gram per ton gold equivalent or less. So we're really excited to get our hands on this material. It's located just off of a paved highway. We've got a few local communities near us, one pretty much adjacent to the facility, another one just down the road. So we've got access to a local workforce. This is an area where mining has been conducted for about 400 years. So the people in this area are very familiar with mining. There's a lot of skills that we can leverage there as well. And this project is located at the northern end of the Durango state of Mexico. This acquisition basically has a few pieces coming together. The first one, of course, being the actual mill facility itself. This was built back in 2014, originally as a carbon and leach plant to reprocess the tailings. I don't think the previous owners probably didn't do a whole lot of proper metallurgy work before they got started. They had some difficulties with gold recovery, particularly from the presence of copper in the tailings material. So they then reconverted it to a Merrill-Crowe system, eliminating the use of carbon so they can better handle that copper. But it's been closed down since then. And our plan is to engage Ausenco Engineering to do a whole new slate of metallurgical test work and testing the tailings basin in order to basically redesign the flow sheet and determine how we're going to modify the plant before we actually begin commissioning it. So at 1.3 million tons of tailings, and those high grades were estimated to contain about 87,000 ounces of gold. So by no means a huge resource, but something that we believe will produce steady cash flow for the company for a period of about 4 years. At those grades and 1,000 tons per day, well, we expect to see gold recoveries in the 70 to 75% range, which should be producing about 1,200 to 1,400 ounces of gold per month, cash costs of under $1,000 an ounce. So We're basically looking to be producing about $1 million a year, or $1 million a month, sorry, in earnings from this facility. And those earnings and those profits we can then leverage to continue exploring on our Tarachi claims and looking at acquiring other assets in Mexico, so we can continue on those projects without continuing to dilute shareholders. So this also comes with the permits in place, as well as a permitted tailings basin and the land leases to the facilities. So this really is just about as close to a turnkey operation as you can get. The tailings material themselves, they actually hadn't seen cyanide before. These were generated from plants that were using mercury amalgamation and eventually flotation. So that's why we believe that we can attain gold recoveries in the sort of 70 to 75% range based on some more recent metallurgical test work. In addition to Magistral, we have our highly prospective claims in the Sierra Madre Gold Belt, again, divided into kind of two sections, Tarachi North and Tarachi South. Alamos Gold's Mulatos mine is only about 6 kilometers from our Tarachi South block of claims. We have had some assays back from Tarachi South that we announced sort of back in December. Of course, like many companies, we seem to be stuck in pending assay purgatory for the rest of our drill results, but hopefully we'll be getting those back pretty soon. As well as on our Tarachi North block of claims, we've had about 9 drill holes drilled there so far, none of which we've actually gotten back yet, but hopefully we'll see those in the next couple of weeks. But this whole land package totals about 3,700 hectares. Like I said, there's a number of major companies operating here. That Mulatos mine has several million ounces in reserves and resources, and they're producing about 150,000 ounces a year. And the Letendi mine, that's an Agnico Eagle mine, they're producing about 80 or 90,000 ounces a year. So we're very much in elephant country here. It's an exciting place to be operating, and we're quite fortunate to have the claims that we do in this area. So taking a closer look at Tarachi South, as I mentioned, this is where we have seen some drill results come back last month. All of those so far have been drilled within the existing underground workings of an old mine called the Ladura mine. We believe they excavated about 150,000 tons of ore here in the past. Our drill results to date have been pretty exciting, sort of between 4.5 and 6 grams per ton over pretty consistent intercepts of about 20 meters. So everything here, what really excites me is the kind of consistency of the grades that we've been seeing. We do have one more hole pending assay from this area as well. And once we get those holes all back, then we'll be sort of relaunching the next stage of our exploration program. Looking over at Tarachi North, we've got a pretty large package of claim blocks up here that cover a large area of argillic alteration. Adjacent to us is Agnico Eagle's undeveloped Tarachi deposit that contains over 360,000 ounces of low-grade gold in its resources. We've seen similar sort of mineralization over on our blocks of claims on the western side of the altered area. In addition to the sort of lower grade gold porphyry style mineralization, we see mineralized breccias over here as well, as you can see in some of the images from some old historic workings that are on our claims, as well as higher grade epithermal style mineralization. And in the past, they've drilled pretty high grade intercepts from here that are pretty exciting. We've seen over 3 ounces per ton, over 1.3 meters up at the northern block on our Chavitas concessions. Then on the southwestern concessions, which we call San Javier, historical drill holes from there have returned 34.5 grams per ton over 5 meters, 24.3 grams per ton over 3 meters, which are great intercepts. We currently have 9 holes pending assays, all from the San Javier block of concessions. So lots to explore in here. Our geology team last year did a great job identifying a number of drill-ready targets. So once we have all of our assays in place, we'll be returning there with the drills to follow up on those results. Just kind of summing up what we've been doing sort of over the last 9 months or so at Tarachi. We've got our drilling permits in hand, identified a number of drill-ready targets. We've got some great early results that have come out of Tarachi South with a number of holes still pending assays. And out of the original 5,000 meter drill program that we announced last year, up until Christmas, we've drilled just over 1,700 meters of that. So a lot of drilling still to come. We're just waiting on our assays before we decide where to start drilling from. And yeah, a lot to look forward to this year in terms of our exploration potential. I know our VP of Exploration, Lauren, is kind of chomping at the bit to get down to Mexico. So we're actually heading down there as a team in about a week and a half or so. And he plans on spending about a month of February down there working with our Mexican geologists. So just to give you guys kind of a brief overview real quick, we're very well financed. We've got a great package of mineral concessions in the Sierra Madre Gold Belt, over 3,700 hectares. This is an area that's seen a number of great high-grade intercepts in the past that are located on our mining concessions and sort of the areas that we first started drilling ourselves. very much an elephant country with a lot of big mines nearby. And then we also have this Magistral tailings project that, as a mining engineer, I'm obviously much more excited about that myself in terms of the production story. This asset really has the potential to elevate Tarachi from an exploration company to a near-term producer of gold. Although not a huge resource, it's certainly going to provide us with some cash flow. Again, we estimate at these gold prices about $1 million a month in cash flow from here that we can deploy on Tarachi to continue exploring Tarachi. And also as a vision for the company, we really want to use it as a stepping stone to establish ourselves as a producer in Mexico, and from there go after bigger and better projects. So later this year, we're going to be pursuing potentially a third asset to bring into the portfolio, something we don't have our hands on anything yet, but ideally we're looking for something that has sort of a 43-101 compliant resource established on it that we can build on, or something even a little further advanced with a PEA or PFS that we can push towards final feasibility and leverage the cash flow from Magistral to do that. So yeah, lots to look forward to this year. A lot of milestones on the horizon in terms of exploration, in terms of getting Magistral going. Once we close on that deal, which we're expecting to happen either before we go to Mexico or while we're there, before the end of January, we'll be engaging with Ausenco Engineering to execute on a PEA, again, to sort of do the final design on how we need to modify the mill before we can start commissioning it. We'd like to be commissioning that mill by the end of the year. If not by the end of this year, then certainly by early 2022. So that's sort of a summary of the company. Thank you for listening today. And thank you, Eric, for inviting us. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out.